everybody, and welcome to Red Wings Rant, where tirades and passion please for your Detroit Red Wings finally have a home.
Yeah, a home. Just like my bedroom that I'm recording from today, since I had a pipe burst in my house, destroy my office, all my Pokemon cards, all my books, but luckily, all my Red Wing jerseys are perfectly intact. And all the bobbleheads are still good, so we're doing great.
At one point, those will be delivered. Yeah. All right, Mike, clearly the image represented on the screen is Moritz Seider reading the news that his best friend, Ben Chiarot, greatest Red Wing of all time, Mike, signed his 3-year extension today.
Man, start out the big news quick, huh? Man, no preamble. We're getting right into the... Pistons have Uncle T. The Red Wings have Uncle C.
I am committed. Today will only be a half hour for Mike's sake. We led into the episode with the horrible news of Mike's basement and
/ living room / office / most of where I do my sitting and work. This was a fun signing for me. Because I had multiple people come up to me at work because they know I like, jaw-jacking about the winged wheel. And I don't know if they thought I was going to sincerely hate it. I don't. But just feels like this is a guy, this is one of Steve's boys. The number that he's making is, as the salary cap continues to grow, this is chump change. And I think if you're going to pay your fourth defenseman chump change, it's a pretty low risk deal for the Wings. It feels like he likes being here. I think collectively, most of us Red Wing ranters have been able to appreciate what Chiarot's brought to the table this season. And he does that thing that's not going to really I mean, you'll see blocks on the stat sheet, but he really does like mucking it up and bumping into people. And we don't have a lot of people that necessarily like to do both and have the size to do it. I don't mind this. I don't mind this at all. And I know that there's a very funny narrative right around the corner just to snuff out my enthusiasm for this transaction, Matt, because I see you got the J Fresh cue card ready for me there. But Matt, we can just cherry pick when we use analytics, right?
Yeah, I just cracked the joke to you, Mike, before we went live, and I was like, it's a good signing when articles pop up online that analytics don't always tell the whole story of what a guy brings to a team. Look, let's just get it out of the way. I also do not think this is a bad signing. I think you need some stability. I think one of the things we've seen as a problem with this team is the revolving door in certain spaces. And one of the conversations that we've been having on the Discord, guys, go join the Discord, is we need to secure some of these spots that we don't necessarily want to look at free agency and say, well, that's how we can fix this problem. Because very, very often that hasn't worked out for the Wingdings. But as we've commented on so far this year, Ben Chiarot is in some ways passing the eyeball test. So a little tongue in cheek. I think we are a little guilty of cherry picking analytics as Red Wings fans. And I don't like say we're not included in that, but I do think we all need to take a step back and realize that, yes, it is very true that, Mike, here's the case. This is what we're going to talk about with this horrible J Fresh player card. Number one, analytics present results. They're not presenting an opinion.
Sure.
All right, let's get that one out of the way.
But by the way, I did hear some people say that J Fresh has a huge Red Wing bias. Is this true? Anti-Red Wing bias?
I mean, he's one of the guys that fought for Moritz Seider and like, hey, the competition is the toughest in the NHL, so it's not a negative bias or a positive bias?
Negative.
Yeah, I would say it just goes to like whatever.
Yeah,
whatever the analytics point to. It's not a negative bias. It's just when he can.
Yeah, and I do want you to hit point number 2, but Whiskey coming in hot. Whiskey, good to see you, buddy. Right at the start of the show, just letting us know he did take $1 million haircut,
Yeah.
and he'll make $400K more than what we're paying Justin Hall, who
And
is not on the team.
That's more than a $1 million haircut too, because the salary cap went up. It'll go up again. And honestly, his agent probably could have gone to Steve and been like, I would just keep the salary the same, brah. But no, it's going to drop too. So salary cap goes up. Ben Chiarot's salary drops for sure. There's some age getting figured
this
into
didn't
that.
impede anything long term. I mean, do you still have, $38 million in cap space projected?
I would still say, yeah, you do. I would still say the main storyline here, like for sure, if anybody is furious about this signing, which I'm going to say Jay Fresh isn't furious. So we're going to read his tweets, which I laughed. If you didn't see this and laugh, you got to retrain your Red Wings fandom mind, because I thought this was hilarious. So I'll say if you were furious about this, going about it in the wrong way. If you are ecstatic, woo, man, are you way off. But Jay Fresh got into a lot of arguments today on X, Twitter, whatever. I don't care how good your eye test is, because you skate decently and cross-check guys in front of the net. If your team turns from a 50% plus goal per chance per shot share team to a 44% team when you step on the ice over 2+ seasons, you are not playing well. And then another guy was like, I don't think your model's taking into consideration, blah, 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 blah. Jay Fresh is like, that is exactly what the model takes into consideration. So anyway, look, there's a lot of data going against Ben Chiarot. Here's how I'm looking at it. If this becomes a problem, Red Wings fans, you're not allowed to act surprised. Steve, not allowed to act surprised. If this stops somebody from joining the roster, like if all of a sudden Wallander, Bouillon are ready to take that step up, but now we don't have that space for them, and you really wanted them to, and you support, and you're supporting this, you're not allowed to be angry. I will say, I think this answers a lot of questions as to what the team thinks of Wallander and Bouillon. And I think it also hints that those guys might be on the trade block, because we are shoring up the left side of this defense. Eljo done more than enough to secure a spot. We have no problem saying in that bottom 4, Aljo has a spot. Ben Chiarot has another one of those spots. Edvinsson's not going anywhere. We had a chance to turn that into Quinn Hughes, but here we are. He's hurt. Whatever. Hey, we won't talk about that.
That's fine.
It's fine. That's fine. So anyway, I'm just saying, you had a couple of guys that could have taken that step up in the roster. I think that's the major storyline. Steve's peace of mind would be brought. He could fall asleep going into free agency, going into the offseason, knowing that he's got a Ben Chiarot ready to go. He was not going to get that peace of mind knowing that Wallander and Bouillon could get the call up. That's all I'm saying. Doesn't mean they're terrible. Just saying, for Steve to fall asleep at night, he got this done. That's his security blanket. That's where he feels safe. He would not feel safe knowing Wallander and Bouillon would be there. Doesn't mean they're done. Doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Just throwing that out there. I think that's the major point to take from this. You're right.
Yeah, I think it leads into arguably the funniest part of this negotiation, Matt. I don't know if you just took a cursory look at a few of the details in this deal.
No.
Namely,
I'm excited
that Mr. Ben, 4th to 5th, maybe 6th defenseman, has a full no trade clause next season and modified no trade clauses the next 2 years.
Did you see though, the 28 days before the 2027-28 trade deadline, it then converts to a 10-team no trade clause. Is it the same thing? Yeah, and then 10-team no trade clause for the full 28. I think that's so funny. It's like, yeah, you can get settled in Detroit. You've got from this point right now, right? Like, you've got some time to get settled in the Detroit metro area, but come 28.
You want to feel secure about buying a jersey. Ben Chiarot is not going anywhere. This is his home. You can't trade him at all, Steve, or you want to eat $3.8 million or try to stretch that out. So I think that was my favorite part of the deal is he was able to secure the no trade clause.
Yeah, good for him. And again, I think ultimately this is going to add some stability to this defense.
All right. I mean, tongue in cheek, right? We know that he's had some rough years. This year has easily been his best, but he's easily eaten a lot of pucks for us, right? Taking to the face, the chops. He's sacrificing the body. I think that is kind of what this is. This is a thank you for doing that when we were poop, and now we're looking like we're turning the corner and finally going to make a step into the playoffs. And I feel like this is kind of a thank you card, a 3-year, 3.8 per thank you card to Ben Chiarot for doing it when it didn't matter. And now we'd like to see you be on this roster, guaranteed roster, Matt, which was the other thing I just wanted to get on your coattails for. He's basically guaranteed a roster spot, right, at this 3.8 for the next 3 years with a no move clause. So,
I feel like that's fine to land on that point.
I mean, the NHL has tons of rotten contracts. This is far from being the most egregious one. So if at worst case you can't get him off the roster, right? Because you can't trade him. 3.8 as your sixth defenseman with Ben Chiarot, guy who bled for you, and this team was utter diarrhea. You could do a lot worse. So I don't hate this deal at all.
Yeah, and what do you need space for? Spitting chicklets. They did a whole story on Connor McDavid going to the Wings, and Steve's leaving space in the cap for Connor McDavid. I thought that was kind of funny that became like, I don't know, maybe like local news, but like it blew up. It's just like, that's just a guy who's like 3 years from now. But no, I did think that was, why not? Let's get excited that we're saving cap room for that. But Ben Chiarot won't get in the way. That was the point I was making. Who gives two poops?
I think that feeds into another. I'm going to give this an early bid for a comment of the episode. Whiskey saying, big picture, by year 2 of this deal, Chiarot will cost less than 3% of the team's total cap. Right. It's such a nothing in the bucket for a guy who's clearly played very hard for Steve. And, if buried in the NHL, it would be 2%. This is as insignificant as the Hamonic deal in this year. Yeah.
So, moving on. I did think, still, guys, stop cherry picking analytics. That goes for writers, fans.
Are you popping the collar, by the way? What's going on over there?
What, am I? No,
it was a trick of the light. I thought this collar was popped up vampire style.
But the reason we trust analytics, Mike, is because it's telling us that Moritz Seider, Simon Edvinsson, one of the best line pairings in the NHL. We have no problem believing analytics when that's said. But anyway, Simon Edvinsson, Mike.
We like picking cherries. We're Michigan. We're known for cherries. All right.
Yeah. I like that. We should have said that from the get-go. Simon Edvinsson, though, is going to test us, Mike. Expected to be out beyond the Olympic break. I did like how Max Bultman framed it. Or actually, you know what? He got that from Todd McLellan. Never mind. But Todd McLellan framed it as like, this is an opportunity for us to check out what we've got. That's the silver lining. He's like, this is just 5 games. He's going to have plenty of time to heal up. But now we can see, based on how this roster's built, what can we do if somebody else plays with Moritz Seider, which I think is a really good test, because Simon looks great. Wouldn't that be something like if we found out like Seider has that same Lidstrom ability, which actually
the Seider bump?
Yeah, that was said by, I think Ozzy said it in the last game, or it was Frankie Chiarot, who replaced Mickey Redmond over the weekend. Was that Frankie Chiarot? One of them made that point where it's just like, whoever plays with Seider is going to get that bump. So this could be one of those opportunities to find out, can you find other space for Edvinsson? Can somebody else maybe get an Edvinsson bump?
Chiarot, you were right.
All right, cool. He does the Athletics podcast too on Wednesdays. I think he's a smart guy. If somebody somebody right now is trying to figure out, like, is Mickey's career almost over? I'd be circling that name and asking Frankie if he'd consider being full-time in Detroit, because that was a hell of a game that he called. I loved every second of it. Anyway,
it was a good time.
Good test. I don't know how you
Jared,
feel about that, Mike.
real quick, Jared throwed in there one of his early bits for a comment of the episode. Edvinsson going to move in with Mickey so they can rehab together. Oh, isn't that adorable? Yeah, as far as this Edvinsson injury goes, it's, I mean, arguably perfect timing, right? Because he's, depending on the severity of the injury, you got that whole Olympic break to get better. And outside of Patrick Kane, we've been pretty blessed as far as the injuries go. I know a game or two ago, I can't remember if it was the Toronto game, when Gibson got tripped, and there was a hush in the commentator booth because they're like, "Ooh, this is a guy who's had a lot of injuries, so we really want to, kind of keep him in bubble wrap." So knock on wood, he's been super healthy for us. So I mean, Edvinsson gonna miss a couple games, get that nice break, and I'm glad that you kind of led the slide with that, because we do need a little adversity. I don't know what we can really learn when the team's just, firing on all cylinders with the entire roster healthy, because it's unfortunately not realistic, right? You are going to have a couple injuries here and there. So it's interesting to kind of see, what do we do now? Like, what's it going to look like on the top pair?
And I did think, on that top pair, they gave JBD the big honor of getting to play with Moritz Seider. I did kind of dislike the timing of that. Because what you saw, like, game score wise, who was your lowest game score? Hamonic and Aljo. Right after Johansson, Berner starting on January 1st. Johansson's going hot with a 59% expected goals for percentage. Berner Docker, who's struggled most of the season, all of a sudden it's like this pair got it figured out. I'm a little bummed that was the pair that they decided to break up. I would have tried a couple of other things and been like, okay, these two seem to have it figured out. I like the actual goal share percentage at 80%. Nuts. Obviously that just means 4 goals went in and 1 didn't. But let's not talk about those actual numbers. Still, Berner Docker, we'll call it this. It was a reward, right? It's like a reward, getting those opportunities to play with Seider because he did so good to start January.
Yeah.
But this is all kind of coming together as like the story is starting to gel of like what can you find on this roster, and like you were talking about, we need adversity to see how this team can make it through. We need to see how this roster would perform without a Simon Edvinsson. We need to see how the guys who are on the roster might perform in a forced line mix up or pairing mashup, if I may. And I think I'm going to pull this up just to make sure. But I'm pretty sure that Seider and Berner Docker walked away with the highest game scores coming out of that LA Kings game. We'll pull it up in a second here, but confirm it. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on, load up. Piece of garbage. Anyway,
quick, Jared was tagging in on the injury luck that the Red Wings have had, and he was just saying every month the game's miss chart comes, the Wings have been at the bottom with the least amount lost. Knock on wood. Yeah, I mean, we've gotten really cooked past couple years, so it'd be nice to kind of maybe balance the scales a little bit, right?
Yeah.
When we lost pillar of the team, Rasmussen, and we cratered, we had that long stretch with no Larkin, and the team just completely cratered. We've got a lot of examples of that, but I did want to throw a name at you just while it's fresh.
I will confirm too. It was 2 best games in that Kings game. Probably the first time we've said this all season about Jacob Berner Docker. JBD, Moritz Seider. Just throwing that out there.
So Matt's saying the Seider bump could be real. 1 game in, 2 games. Matt, Carson Soucy, does that do anything for you?
He's already traded. Isn't
he?
He's
already
he
gone.
got moved. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
I didn't think that we were jumping on him because I thought the smoke was that we were getting a top 6 forward or top 4 defenseman, and I thought he was more bottom 4. Or does he move the needle a little bit more for you than he does for me?
I mean, it was one of those names that I actually had in the slide deck. So I still have, we can pull those up, especially since we want to try and wrap this show up in a half hour today because of your basement.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
No, I'm just saying I did have him on my list. It wasn't anything that I was too poo-pooed about. I'm not bummed right now that we didn't get him. I think
I'm not bummed, but I am a little surprised with the timing that they didn't try to like swoop in and be like, all right, let's see if we can give this guy a few games.
I actually, so on the drive home today, was listening to Puck Soup, and they actually made the mention of like, it wasn't just this trade, but there were a few trades, I guess earlier this week that just kind of felt like it was like New York, New Jersey, the Rangers, the Islanders, and the Devils kind of going back and forth. And somebody made the comment where they're like, this might be the first time that there was a trade, like a bunch of trades like that, and nobody actually has to like move their stuff. Like it's all still in the same spot. Like all the players that got moved. So there's an element of that, which I'd have to, actually confirm that any of that is true. But I kind of, that take made me think too, like was it even possible, for the Wings to get mixed into that?
Quick, Dan B, welcome, bud. Good to see ya. Saying, wasn't Carson Soucy the character in The Usual Suspects? There's his bid for comment of the episode. I think that was Kaiser Soze. Dan B, I do appreciate the reference of a 30-year-old movie that us 3 old guys can know what you're talking about.
Bryan Singer, right?
Bryan Singer?
Wasn't that a Bryan Singer movie?
Really? The dude who made X-Men?
I thought so.
Wow. Yeah, I remember he was a real POS, and now he's kind of out of Hollywood.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's his career went south. So Carson is a 14% projected WAR, third pair. His salary is pretty close to what Chiarot's getting paid next year. He's not bringing a lot to what was a crappy Rangers team. But when the Rangers were a little bit better, those numbers were up near the 80%. The only thing is, you start to question, like, he's at 31 now. So then you were talking about wind the clock back a couple years. We talk about this all the time, is that plateau that players reach in the NHL. They do the 27, 28, and 29 years, their age, and those years playing in the NHL. And then there's a drop off once they hit 30. So now Carson's at 31, and very clearly the numbers took a dip. So
I think Wings was thrown out there that, I probably undersold him a little bit. It's just, I think that Steve, he does have his pieces. Like, he is in the playground with the other kids. He's willing to make a trade out of his lunchbox. But I think he wants to do something a little sexier.
I think you're right. I think let's hold on to our right. We're holding on to our cards until we can get
that would have been the kind of move when you're established like Vegas, right? And you're like, we'll get a peripheral guy for, our lunchbox trade items. But I think he's going for something a little sexy this year. So I'm not bummed we didn't get him. So I don't want to do a complete detour. Because I know you had the actual slides, but Carson was devastated. Yeah,
I do. I think everything I want to bring up trade wise ends up being more of the sexier side of things. Like what should we actually be invested in? Like, for sure you can pick up depth, but I think there's still some of the sexier picks are going to end up adding depth to a team who right now is second in the Atlantic, as opposed to a team that is outside of the picture and is looking to find maybe a stronger defense, even though the Red Wings are like top 7 in the league in goals against per game. Stronger defensively or some more goal scoring. I'm going to argue goal scoring. Last night, Mike, we got shut out. I'm saying it. Hold the goalie.
Yeah.
Scored late. Cool. Yeah. Now it's 2-1, and then they get an empty netter. We lose 3-1.
That was an incredible empty netter, by the way.
It was. That was Perry across the ice.
I felt so good seeing Copp take the face off, and then he just got hoodwinked on that one. He had no shot.
He won like 5 faceoffs in a row at the end of that game.
Yeah, I'm not mad. I'm like, cool, we got our guy out there.
No,
Sick.
no, right. Yeah. No, it was just like, yeah, Cop's killing it. And then all of a sudden it just goes south real quick. We looked great too. That empty net, those shifts were incredible. I thought we did a great job just peppering the net. It really made sense that we made it 2-1. Not the story here. The problem was that you faced a team that's going to play a pretty similar game to what you're going to see in the playoffs. And look, you didn't have Edvinsson. So there is that argument where it's like, hey, your best defenseman, Mort Seider, is now possibly, even though we just talked about that game score thing, but it's possibly having to wrap his head around a new responsibility of wrangling up JBD, right? Instead of having a playing partner who Seider every once in a while will challenge to the net, try put one in the back of the net.
Right. They also were able to have so many consecutive games together that they kind of developed, a little chemistry. Yeah. So they'll just take a little time. And
yeah. But regardless, like, you could make that argument. I think it's pretty fair to say, like, throughout this entire season, we've seen the dips on the first line. There really isn't that.
Hey, don't talk about Casper like that.
There really isn't that, like, for sure game breaker on 5-on-5. And that's where I kind of wanted to take this. And especially that game last night.
Are you doing trade talk, Matt?
Yeah, we're gonna go.
We're gonna go trade talk.
We're gonna do it.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
Yeah, McLellan talked about, like, nothing really went well for us. We weren't completing 2 pieces of the puzzle. I thought that was really funny, where he was like, we'd put down 1 piece, then you couldn't get the second piece. And I know what he means, but if we took a second to analyze that analogy, it really makes no, like, he's saying they're so dumb that they only got the piece that they could get right was the blank slate, and they put the 1 puzzle piece down because the second puzzle piece.
In recent memory, I can't think of another coach calling his own team dumb more than McLellan calls the Red Wings dumb. Whether he's calling out ASP, Edvinsson, the LA Kings game, just a lot of dumb. Couldn't even put 2 puzzle pieces together. Couldn't even put an edge piece together. 2 edges.
I want to go on record. I don't think that's what Todd was trying to say, but if that's what he was trying to say, yeah. what a kick in the nuts.
I've coached some dum-dums in my time. Man, these Red Wings take the cake. Jesus.
But this quote too, like, we didn't play well enough to win, but urgency wasn't lost. I think that is the tell, where you've got Patrick Kane right now going to the media saying, I think we've done enough for our GM to add to our roster. Patrick Kane saying that. Now Todd McLellan's going like, hey, my team, they played for 60 minutes. Nobody gave up on this game. Yeah. Guess what, Steve? We still couldn't do it.
I love that Patrick Kane thinks he's like LeBron. Like he's texting the GM to be like, you know what, I'm ready to make some moves this year. How about we do that? Like, dude, it's almost over. Let's come on. I mean, you're fine on offense on power plays, but come on.
How many cups does he have? Does he have 2 or 3? Anyway,
he's got a couple. Yeah, I'm just saying at this juncture of his career. That's all I'm saying.
I do think there's an element here where the players, the coaches are now really starting to make that push where it's like, we've got a system in place. If everybody's healthy, we look pretty good. But
right,
hey, we're also fans of the Detroit Lions. We know what happens.
Our system's idiot proof.
There's only one, Mike. There's only one team in Detroit right now that can handle losing 3 superstars, 3 starters, and still win 5 games in a row.
Detroit basketball, baby.
That's right. Outside of that, Tigers look like garbage. Lions barely squeak out a 500 season. So far, the Red Wings
really needed Edvinsson.
Go down to the LA Kings, who are currently sitting outside of the playoff picture in the West. This all of that narrative, all of the Todd McLellan commentary comes with this team. Last 10 games, 7-2-1. A nice little OT loss in Minnesota after back-to-backs. 5-1 shellacking against Winnipeg, which I will call out. Let's not ignore the fact that JT Compher is not going to get you another 2-goal game the rest of the season. So that one, just cross it off the list. That's gone. You wasted it against Winnipeg.
Oh my God.
Gibson taking control.
Yeah.
I'm really forgetting how many slides are before the trade talk.
Oh, we're trying to blitz through these. Well, you know what? This one's an easier one to blitz through because we glossed over it last week because we talked about him kind of getting more confidence. He'd been, dwelling in Anaheim for many moons. And then he comes here and we're like, hey, we need you to be the best goalie of all time. You're number one again. We need you starting every game. Go. And then he was like, how do I get around? Like, he didn't know what was going on. And then he's what we're learning from McLellan, that he's actually like getting that confidence again to, quarterback the whole defense, call stuff out. And it's evident in his numbers, which have far eclipsed anything you would call a mere hot streak. This is a real goalie we got on our hands. Steve, that's what they say. Ninth time's the charm in terms of goalie acquisitions.
And I would say the most important bullet I threw on this slide, Mike.
Yeah.
Gibson playing well enough. Opens the door for some trades.
Little Costa trade.
Well, I was going to put Cam Talbot out there, but also, that doesn't hurt either.
No,
I don't know if you heard this, but Minnesota is putting Wallstedt on the trade block. Elliot Friedman reported that. So everybody's available, apparently.
Oh my God. Wallstedt. I hate that. No.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. Like he's having a hell of a season and they're like, look, you're doing great, but you're our backup goalie. So
speaking of doing great, I got to throw this comment in there before we get to the next slide. Whiskey saying, I literally can't wait to see Hamonic and McKinnon on the same sheet of ice together. Nothing will boost confidence in a shaky team more than going into a month-long break, losing big back-to-back. How dare you, Whiskey?
I was thinking about getting tickets to this weekend. If we can pull that off, that arena is going to be rocking.
The price came down.
It was at like 171 for the worst.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
right
absolutely not. Yeah, but there's something in there now for like $40, so I'm gonna try and jump on it before you do.
Oh shit! All right, let's see.
But anyway, let's hit the next slide because we did give Gibson some flowers last week.
So there is part of this too. Casper's coming around, depth scoring going up. So I wanted to sort of tackle the question too. But I wrote this slide before Todd came in with his quotes last night, where it was like, do you think the team, do you trust it, Mike? Do the fans trust it? If anybody could throw in the comments, do you trust the Marco Casper upswing? Do you trust the JT Compher 2 goals the other night? Or should we really start thinking about putting some more pressure on Steve? Like, let's get some stuff done. And I do think right now we're at that point. Like there's a conversation to be had where we were talking. I made mention earlier, like Steve's security blanket, Ben Chiarot on that contract. Now he feels a little bit more confident going into the offseason. Also, could that mean Booyam, Wallander have come up in a lot of conversations and Steve's like, maybe, but I was thinking they'd be on the roster next year. And instead it's going to be, we got Ben. Ben will cover that bottom pair. Booyam, Wallander, off you go. Bring in some more help for the now. So I do think that's a huge possibility. So I'm throwing on the trade block. Booyam, Wallander, some version of Talbot. Kosa, why not? He's still not up. There's something about Kosa that causes Steve to hold back.
Yeah.
And then there's Trey Augustine too. Which, by the way, Michigan State also, how would you say it? They have their goalie for next season. So Trey is either going to be getting a shot with us, getting a shot with the Griffins, or or the ECHL if they ever come back after their strike. But anyway, there's a lot of things happening in the goaltender pool right now, and I think the Wings would be. I think they'd be smart to take advantage of it and not just do like the safe thing right now and just be like, well, what if one of them doesn't work out? Take a chance. It's goaltending. You can trick somebody. The Minnesota Wild want to trade Wallstedt.
Insane.
Okay. You're fine. Right.
Yeah.
You're fine making the choice to like take those phone calls on Kosa at this point. Okay. I might be crazy. I'm taking the phone calls. I'm not accepting a trade, but I'm taking the phone calls.
Yeah, it was strange. I mean, Casper just played so well in the second half last year. And it was like to see him just fall off a cliff for almost 30, 40 games this year. And now he's kind of to the Casper that we know and love.
Everybody's point streak's dead in my book. I know DeBrincat and Seider hooked up for an amazing goal, but everybody else, I'm just calling it like that. The Kings killed everybody's point streaks. They're all dead. All right. Sorry.
I guess I would just say, as we kind of move this into trade talk, it just, I can stomach the 5 characters who we know are going to be here this year and next year for defense. Seider, Edvinsson, Chiarot, ASP, Aljo, and then somebody. And there would just be somebody kind of moving, Chiarot and or ASP down the pecking order a little bit. So I can stomach that. I think it's just that forward. I do think we have a little bit of depth there. I am shocked that, the Cop to Brinkett Kane line is still performing as one of the better scoring lines in the National Hockey League. And Casper, as much as I do appreciate the effort, that's where I'm greedy. I guess that's where I'd still want to see an upgrade, to see Larkin and Raymond just be incredible.
So I threw out there, what does the current situation change? Real quick, Jared throws out there for Casper. Dude was falling from orbit. But Whiskey answered this question that I threw out there before I even posted it.
This is comment of the episode so far. I'm gonna read it for you, Matt, because I know you're ready to hit on it. We cannot afford to let any winning of games slip by not solidifying the roster. We're gonna read that again. Thank you, Whiskey. We cannot afford to let any winning of games slip by not solidifying the roster. Steve, you saw how precarious these standings are. A 2-game losing streak, you can just plummet, and now you're just scratching and clawing. Please heed the words of our dear friend Whiskey. Please.
There we go. So solidifying the roster can happen in a lot of different ways. And it starts with the most boring article in the world. Obviously, Max Bultman, we love you, man. We steal from your articles all the time. We steal quotes. You're a great reporter.
Hey, it's good to recycle.
Coming up with boring ass trades that for sure can
reliable grinder.
He adds some depth.
Man, will he be great in our bottom line? Can't wait to see that. Those Coleman jerseys really flying off the shelf here at Little Caesars Arena.
So Max throwing out there Blake Coltman, Jake DeBrusk. I've retitled this slide. At first, all of these were titled forward targets, so I retitled this to
I would just use that little yawn emoji, but
I probably should have, but Blake Coltman, Jake DeBrusk. Blake scores out, reliable playoff grinder who adds edge, though not a clear lineup upgrade. I love that line from Max. Okay, Max, then what are we doing?
Way to undercut your own suggestion. What are we doing?
Jake DeBrusk, a heavy winger with scoring history.
Did you say wiener?
Yes, a heavy scoring,
a heavy
wiener.
Hog. A thick hogsman, Jake DeBrusk. Bring home the big hog.
Long-term commitment, though. What are we looking at? 5x5 for 6 years. Whew. I mean, the 5x5 is not going to hurt too much, but gotta leave space for Connor McDavid, Mike. Learned that from Ryan Whitney this week. So here's where I'm at. If these happen, my excitometer, the Matt excitometer, doesn't budge. It doesn't. It's not going to move at all. and we're going to be moving picks or prospects.
It's
bringing
if you've ever bought yourself a 2013 Chevy Cruze, and then we're trying to talk yourself into a 2015 Chevy Cruze, that's what both of these acquisitions would be.
These are moves that in the dying hours of the trade deadline, the Toronto Maple Leafs, who know they're losing Mitch Marner at the end of the season, need to make to shore up and make sure that all four lines have some ability and are upgraded at some level. The Red Wings are not at this point where this is the live and die season. Like, this is it. If we don't make this move this year, we're done. We're toast. You're bringing in Jake DeBrusk is going to be 30 next year. Like, who cares that you have term with Jake DeBrusk? I'm sorry. This doesn't do it for me at all.
I hope you
guy. Go ahead.
I'm just really excited for Derek. I was thinking Jared, and I called you Derek. Derek Jared. I just wanted you to save the tape of Matt and I having this discussion about DeBrusk, and then having the receipt ready when he becomes a Red Wing in a couple days here.
Look, could happen. Just the excitometer. It's gonna
Carmen
flat.
Carmen, welcome to the show. Dropping in off the top rope with their first comment today, saying, "Unfortunately, no gal has ever described my hog as heavy." There's still time for you, Carmen. You can still get some weight into that hog.
Does that
do anything in 2026? Yeah.
Did Jake DeBrusk forget that he was signed into his burner YouTube account and post this? Is that what we're?
Yeah, Jake. Don't worry, man. You're the thick
sign
hogsman.
Back in.
Get in there. Yeah.
Let us shout out that Jake DeBrusk signed into our.
Oh, look at the support from Jared saying mopeds can still be fun, my guy. Yeah, mopeds will get you around town, even if it's not as cool as a big old heavy hog. But what do you got for us?
This is how I get my excitometer to kind of move just a little bit more.
Matt's hog is going off the charts here. What do you got, Matt?
Mike, I'm going for Team USA vet, Vincent Trocheck.
Man.
Steven Stamkos, who's put up, I think it was described earlier today at another podcast, has put up 300 goals in the last 6 games. So that doesn't hurt.
I love that his description is legendary scorer, which to me just means it was a long time ago.
No, it's happening. He's got 25 goals in 50 games this year. He's got half a goal per game. That is elite now.
He came here for no draft picks, but now we can force him to be here with draft picks against his will. Love it.
This might be one where you got to wait for Nashville to just give up. Because
do we also wait for Stamkos to give up and be like, fine?
I think you kind of have to, you have to have that conversation. But I've always been confused by the Steve Yzerman knows Steven Stamkos, because I always felt like Steve was wasn't he the one that really held out on Stamkos when everybody else was getting long contracts? But with Stamkos, he was like, nope, I'm hammering you, dude. You are not getting paid more than $8 million or whatever at that.
I'm sure Stamkos forgot all about that.
Right. So I don't know if Steven Stamkos is like, can't wait to go to Detroit and work for Steve again. Yzerman. Anyway, obviously, next on the list, we've always been bringing up
before we listen, you get a thick hog over Elias Pettersson.
A heavy hog.
A heavy hog. Thank you. Whiskey saying, thick hogsmen unite. That's the new Red Wings rant. That's our new podcast name. Love that. And then Blake saying, yes, Chiarot, 3 more years. Blake, where's that Chiarot jersey, brother? You missed the whole opening of the show. We just talked about that. The consensus was we like this deal because it's pretty affordable, and this is a guy who bled for us when we sucked, and it's kind of a thank you card for him sticking around now that we're turning the corner. So, Blake, this whole episode was all about you, and you missed it. But Dan P saying Stamkos or O'Reilly, I'll take either one. I'm sure Stamkos would prefer we take O'Reilly because I don't think he's ever forgiven Steve Yzerman.
But yeah, my I was gonna say too, why don't we say podcasts always give a name to their listeners? I like the thick hogsman.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Elias Pettersson, the last guy on this list here. I think Mike, last week you tried to convince me And you know how it is when it's family trying to tell you how things are. You just want to fight back. You're like, family, you don't know what's best for me.
Even now, I don't know what you're talking about, but go ahead.
But I listened to somebody else who's a complete stranger tell me that picking up Elias Pettersson would be a great move, and I came around. I'm back on board. Let's make this happen.
Shocking. Whiskey, what is your problem? Can we quit with the 35-year-olds? That's literally Matt and I. We're Patrick Kane and older. Come on, man. 35-year-olds are awesome. We're awesome.
I'm past
we're
that.
a couple of Chiarots running this show. Yeah.
All right, but let's do this for real. All right,
yeah.
Let's stop fucking around.
Whoa, that's our first F-bomb today. Matt
I know.
Saved it.
The kids are still awake too. I'm gonna get in trouble.
Matt, save the F-bomb just for you, buddy. All right, what do you got, Matt?
Jordan Kyrou, Robert Thomas.
Woo!
Let's do
it. If we make those trades, you and I are immediately going to LCA to buy new jerseys.
100%. I have no problem. Yeah, I'll buy it. If one of these two trades happens, I promise, Mike, we're both getting those jerseys. I'll give away one to one of these guys.
I think you don't even know what I'm talking about. You don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm getting me an Yzerman jersey.
Oh my God. That's fine. Yeah.
If he does something that makes this team sexy and new and winner, I'm not even going to get 19. I'm just going to get Yzerman number 1.
All right. What if it's Axel is in on this? What if it's Axel, Kosa, couple first round picks, and a Nate Danielson for Robert Thomas?
If he throws in, if it's ASP, Soderblom, and my pug, for Jordan Kyrou, I'm going to get the same jersey. It's going to say Yzerman, but it's going to say FU on the back. Okay. I don't know if they're going to do a custom sew job for that one. But yeah, Robert Thomas, shockingly, still being talked about as available to you and me. And Kyrou, I feel like that's going to be the consolation. Realistic prize. Still cool. Not as cool. It's like buying a black Dodge Challenger instead of like a, bright green one. But we like calling St. Louis. We like texting them at 2 a.m. You up? So
yeah, it was on Jeff Merrick's podcast this week. One of the episodes where he does the dual hosting job with Greg Wyshynski, which I highly recommend. Those are a good listen. I
miss listening to Greg talk about wrestling, but yeah.
He does a lot of wrestling talk on that show. They brought in
Royal Rumble decoy. If you're out there, it's this Sunday or Saturday, 2:00.
Yeah. Oh man, Brock Lesnar is gonna be there. Oh my God.
Found him. Sorry for whistling. It's one of my tics. All right.
What is it? Kevin Allen from Detroit Hockey Now, I think. Can somebody just say yeah right off the bat there? Threw out there, like, keep an eye on Detroit and St. Louis. So on the Jeff Merrick podcast. So he threw that out there. That's where Kevin Allen. Long time. Detroit journalist, covers USA hockey. Threw that out there. He wasn't necessarily pointing at names, but we've been talking about Kyrou and Thomas all season.
Yeah.
Look, Justin Falk, fine. Oh wait, he did throw out Justin Falk. Fine. We do need to shore up this defense, but I do want to say that can be a piece. I'll throw in another one of our prospects. Let's bring Falk over here. We do need some defense. Those are a whole nother set of slides we have. But I'll give up. These two guys, to me, are like actual missing pieces in Detroit's top 6. And I think that this really elevates this team to not just playoff conversation. I think Carolina, I think Tampa Bay have to really start paying attention if one of these two moves and we're not losing anything else in that top 6. I'm treating that like a hot take, and I think the rest of planet Earth is like, yeah, no shit. But That's where I'm landing, and that's how important I'm making this potential for a move for one of these guys, but also 8.1 for 6 years with the cap going up. You're going to have so much space. These guys can drop down to your middle 6 by year 6. It won't even matter.
Yeah, it's almost like getting them for free.
At that point,
you won't even feel it.
Yep. Yeah.
You won't even feel it.
We do have defensive targets. Do you have time to get into those too, Mike?
Yeah. We'll hit a few comments too, because Jim is in. Jim, good to see you, buddy. Which Jim quote did I want to do here? Oh, he was just saying, I hope Steve does his trade before the freeze, not after. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in Stevie's office. I wish, Jim, they do those Hard Knock shows on HBO, right? Where you kind of get to see like training camp and see what it's like for, guys drafted in the 7th round or like undrafted players, like try to make the NFL squad. It crushes me that we never ever get to see behind the curtain of what it's like for teams like that are like floundering 500, trying to do something at a trade deadline. I'm saying across any sport, and just seeing what this negotiation's actually like. It's so fascinating to me. We never get to experience it. I agree. I would also love to be a fly on the wall for that.
Whiskey, real quick, can you send this to Doug Armstrong of the St. Louis Blues, the GM? Whiskey throws out there, St. Louis has a pretty solid crop of prospects coming up.
Got a good crop.
If they move Thomas and bottom out for a top 3 this year, they'll be dangerous real soon. Package that up, Whiskey. Yeah. Send it on over to Doug.
We'll goose them up.
We'll take Chiarot and Robert Thomas. We'll make a third line.
We goose them up a little bit. It's a circus. It's the old circus term. We goose them up.
It's the circus term.
It's the old circus term. We goose them up a little bit.
Jim wants to know what I think about EP40. Jim, you missed it. I told him I'm ready to go. Lock and loaded. Let's get Vancouver on the line. I just, for me, I'm still more hesitant on EP40 than I am on these two fellows right here. But real quick, let's make some money.
Spinoramas, Michigan goals, and those heart attack Cam Talbot sprawls across the crease. If you're living and dying with every Red Wings highlight like we are, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. They're an official sports betting partner of the NHL, and they're making the action even sweeter. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll score $200 in bonus bets instantly. Yes, the same feeling as watching Lucas Raymond pick a corner, but for your wallet. So do what we do every game night. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-7897-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Pass-through of per wager. Tax may apply. In Illinois, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved.
Jared, not a fan of the ad.
That made me laugh pretty hard.
I will say, Jared, one thing I do like about the ad is there's a little bit of a xylophone towards the end in the music. That's kind of pleasing.
Yeah, it's nice.
And Matt, off the top rope, Blake coming in, swooping in on your favorite fantasy Red Wings, saying Pettersson makes us contendies. I don't see Thomas or Chiarot doing that. I wouldn't be as harsh about that, Blake. I think maybe we just collectively don't watch enough St. Louis Blues hockey. I think you'd be pretty happy watching them with Raymond and Larkin.
Yeah, I think that's an element too when going talking about those two guys and being able to produce and be a little bit stronger two-way. I mean, EP40, don't get me wrong, it's like Selke considerations, but some of the stuff that's been happening recently with EP40 just has me, I don't know. We've seen Thomas and Chiarot produce while the Blues suck ass. But it does sort of that's what's had me hesitant this whole time and turning sour on EP40 is just when things aren't going great, he kind of poo-poos and it really looks like he gets down. And the images equal his production. The images of him on the bench just being all sad and mopey. I don't know. I wouldn't be as sure of myself as I would be with Robert Thomas. Also, they get to save $3 million on those contracts too, compared to EP40. But still, Blake, I don't disagree. I actually do still want EP40. I just don't agree with the Thomas and Chiarot not doing that. Okay.
Oh, real quick, just we didn't hit their comment here. It was their first one of the day. Jason, good to see you, bud. I think he's talking about all the extra things we would do for a big trade, but he was willing to throw in Imo's Pizza, some toasted raviolis, and a gooey butter cake. Well, I could go for a nice gooey butter cake. Sounds good.
All right, let's transition into talking about Connor Murphy with Jim Johnson's comment. Connor Murphy doesn't turn my crank.
Jim, we don't usually get to hear that kind of stuff from you, so it's doubly funny.
So I'm a little more relaxed.
Jared at the buzzer with a bid for comment of the episode saying you should really trade your car and they have ignitions now. Oh, Jared, that really got me. All right. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I mean, great Lord Jason. Just GLJ throw it in the ha-ha-has. All right, now I'm way more lenient on the defensive side because why? We have our top pair ready to go. So we need bottom four defensemen.
You're not unseating 1-2.
Right. You also have pretty solid setup on the power play. So it is one of those things too, where you're not necessarily looking to. You don't need to fill in a quarterback, right? You got a couple of good options. Axel's not getting any minutes, but he'll still get power play minutes.
Right.
Okay. So Mario Ferraro, Connor Murphy, where does the conversation go with this? I mean, Connor's got your right side D. Obviously we've already talked about Chiarot's inked.
How can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So I know that the names kind of, ebb and flow in terms of likelihood, with our great gods, the Friedmans of the world. Why is Ferraro still talked about as being available when it looks like the Sharks are trying to make the playoffs?
That's a great question.
Okay. Well, is there a great answer or we don't really know why?
Yeah.
And Connor Murphy would be cool for a third rounder or something. I don't know if I want like a lot for him. He kind of gives me Beetlejuice voice. I don't know if I'm really dying for him. Matt, do you want to add another 32-year-old here, almost catching up to us?
I mean, yeah, this is where you're renting, right? And I think with the Sharks, I think what you're doing is trying to make a hockey trade. You're like, can I have your left shot defenseman to add to my depth here, and then you can have this. And I'm not sure what this is, but that's how I would kind of underline that one. For whatever reason, yeah, Ferraro's on those trade lists. But I do agree with you. Like the Sharks made a big move to try and add to their team, so there's not anything that says like right now they're huge sellers. But yeah, you could go to the Sharks, knock on the door, and figure out what's going on. What do you guys still need? Maybe we can help you out on the depth side. Again, this isn't those moves that are. It's not turning my crank either. I'm right there with Jim. Connor Murphy, at least there, we're having that right side of the D conversation, and I don't know. It's solving that hole in the lineup. But I think there was already some of the comments of getting into the Justin Falk conversation, which we've already talked about last week.
Oh, yeah.
And then we just mentioned with the Kevin Allen conversation on the Jeff Merrick podcast, but also Dougie Hamilton, right? I mean, a couple of right shot defensemen that I think Falk, if you guys take a look at the J Fresh card, you're like, what are you circling is like the problem right now, right? As a team,
for Falk, you mean his role, top pair? We're just going to give you a less important role. How about that?
Right. I was actually going to call out that even strength offense is at 0%, and the even strength defense is at 69%.
Nice.
Also got a penalty kill guy there too. One of the things with Dougie Hamilton I wanted to call out, yes, strong numbers on the penalty kill side. we would ignore the power play side, but if Axel keeps struggling, you can lean on Dougie a little bit there and give him some of those power play minutes.
Can
And
I ask?
it's really the even strength offense.
There's no prep. There's no prep for this question. But Dougie, if no first round pick is involved, are you in? Automatic?
I don't know. I'm a Vegas Golden Knight GM right now with my first round picks. I don't need a single one.
Wow. Okay. I was just saying, like, if the offer is, we look it up tomorrow on Twitter and Red Wings give up blah 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 for Dougie, and there's I'm kind of in on that. I don't even need the retention. Like, we have the cap space. I don't really give a hoot. It's only what, 2 years left? 2 or 3?
And then the contract expires and Connor McDavid's available and you got
I'm right in, dude. Yeah.
So I'm just kidding. But no, I totally agree. I'm in on Dougie Hamilton. I think this solves more of the problem that we're having right now. And I think we have a structure right now that actually shuts other teams down. We have that ability to shut our opponent down and still keep up scoring wise. But I would like those games against Minnesota where we're kind of going goal for goal. Like we have that extra oomph somewhere in the bottom 4 of our defensive pairings that we can transition the puck a little bit better.
Listen, I'm not saying. So Dan B's throwing it out there too. Going forward, wings first are very tradable in my opinion. I agree. I'm just saying, like, ideally, I would rather eat salary from Dougie and not have to give up a first round pick. But yes, this is the year I'm happy to trade first round picks. Absolutely.
Whiskey thrown out there. Awesome 30-minute episode, fellas.
Hey, you get 2 30-minute episodes. You're welcome, Whiskey.
We'll split these up. This is half of next week's episode.
If I'm Steve, I'm like, you don't have to retain 1 penny, New Jersey. Just, I'm not giving you a first or second. How about that?
Yeah, Jim's thrown out there. Yeah, if there's retention, do it. But I'm kind of with you, Mike. I'm okay. Like, especially the salary cap being the thing that gets damaged here, with the cap continuing to go up, and some of the projections are like, oh, it's a couple years, it's about to shoot way up.
Yeah.
Anything that's locked in for a couple of years to 3 years, I think you're fine. Especially, and that comes back to like St. Louis forwards. That comes back to EP40. Got some of those contracts locked up for so long. Well, I guess EP40's contract kind of.
Yeah, you're married.
That's going to suck for a while. Never mind. But
it's EP40 because it's a 40-year mortgage that you're signing up for.
Never mind.
EP 40-year mortgage. Yeah.
Scratch the salary savings on EP40. But Kyrou, Robert Thomas, you've still got plenty of room to make moves. Same thing with almost anybody else here. Dougie's like scratching that surface there, right? Like he's right there, but you can't ignore the fact that you've kind of you fucked over Sider and Raymond. They're locked in forever on what will end up being shitty contracts for them eventually. But yeah, I think you've got room to make some mistakes salary wise, and I'd rather mistakes happen on the salary than other places at this point, with the cap just continuing to go up. Some teams talking about like, oh, we're going to have an internal cap because we can't afford to go that high. Like, that's the kind of thing to me that's just like music to my ears. Let's stop talking about hitting those salary cap ceilings, which again, Red Wings, nowhere near.
There was a question. Blake just wondered how much Dougie makes, and Whiskey was making a funny joke. He said about 3 Rasmussens, but I think it's also important to realize that Dougie's number, you get pretty close. Just combining Gustafsson doesn't play, Justin Hall doesn't play, Hamonic don't really need him. In a couple extra bucks, pretty easy to fit in our cap sheet. It's very, very, very feasible. I'm not worried about retention at all. I would love to be the team as far as negotiating tactics go, to be the one that goes, don't retain anything. We got it. If that makes it a little bit easier for us, like asset wise, giving things up, I say do it. Now, Jim is being pragmatic. He is saying the reason for the retention just makes it easier for us to make other moves, which is fair. But it's just so wide open. Like in the next 2 years, it's going to be pretty wide open.
I have a juicy call out.
Okay.
Talk about Chris Ilitch. Now the cap hit is $9 million.
Right.
The actual cash paid to Dougie Hamilton, 8.4 next year, 5.25 the year after that. You know who'd love that? Chris Ilitch would love that. He's like, I don't give a shit about the salary cap.
He'd love to sink his teeth.
But if I got a
deep dish slice of Dougie ham,
did we just crack the code for the Detroit Red Wings where Steve Yzerman can't pay guys? But guess what? Chris doesn't actually care about the salary cap. He's going to care about that money coming out of his pocket. Total salary paid to Dougie Hamilton in 26-27, according to Puckpedia, 8.4 mil, 27-28, 5.25. That also is better for Chris Ilitch because he has to tell Steve, you can't go higher. Hey, man, salary cap says 9 mil. You can't go higher than that. Like he's cutting Steve off on how much he can pay, even though the amount of money coming out of his pocket will actually be less. I think we cracked the code. Somebody call Chris right now. Tell him that this is a thing. And Dougie Hamilton will be a Detroit Red Wing tomorrow morning. I feel like I just broke news. I feel like I just cracked the code for why Dougie Hamilton's going to be a Detroit Red Wing next week.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only thing to kind of give you pause is part of it is tied into we had plans this offseason that fell through, right? But we are sitting on basically EP40 salary and cap space right now as currently constructed. So hopefully we spend to the cap ceiling. Hopefully. Well, but it's much harder to do if you're trying to do it free agency and almost everybody re-signs with their old team and one guy just goes to Las Vegas, right? So this trade market, that's why it's so important for Steve to weaponize his cap that way. And obviously getting good players, not just, jabronis. So
yeah. Well, I think that wraps us up for the day because we said a half hour and we're at an hour and 7 minutes now.
Listen, I don't want to die on the Dougie hill. But Jason throwing out a good point. The thing that gives me pause is if Hamilton can stay healthy, right? It is. He's gotten some boo-boos over the past couple of years, but
no, it's a great.
I think the thing that again makes me feel a little bit better is we're not asking him to be like top pair. I mean, what should be like 3-4, a little power play action, right? A little power play, maybe if we need you. I think we're going to be okay because he'd be like an overqualified depth piece.
Blake, come on, 10 more minutes.
Did we knock out our slides today?
I called out the Avalanche back-to-back. Caps coming up tomorrow. 2 points against Colorado, even if it's 2 overtime losses, I feel like that equals a statement for us. Like that's all right. We can keep up with the big boys. Great call out by Jared. This was just reported. Thank you, Jared.
Yeah, so he's definitely getting moved before the Olympics, right?
They said the report was he's being held out so that they can trade him. Might not necessarily happen before the 4th, but hey, we'll be back. We'll be back on the 4th. So we're kind of doing we get 2 trade deadline shows this year. So we'll see if the Wings make a trade on February 4th. That's our next episode date. Maybe we have to wait till the 5th. I don't know. Anyway, Jim probably nailing it here. Vegas picking up Panarin. It's always Vegas.
All right. Well, yeah, we can ride off.
Is it midnight or is it noon on the 4th? I don't know. We'll let that decide what our next episode date is. You guys, you probably already know it. Let's Jared.
Just 3 p.m. on February 4th.
Oh, perfect. So we'll record it after that and see if anything's happened. Jared throws out there the unofficial half-ass producer of Red Wings Rant. I don't mind if you want to put that on your LinkedIn, Jared. I support it. All right, guys, thanks for coming aboard. This is a fun episode. Good old Chiarot is a wing ding.
For the
Say
long haul.
Say goodbye to Wallander and Booyum as we welcome Robert Thomas to the Detroit Red Wings. Okay. That's a who says no. That's St. Louis for sure. Okay. See you guys later.